Okay, welcome back, guys. This is kind of a follow-up to my last video I put out about 2 months ago. This is my Gewehr 98 from Royal Tiger Imports, aka Inner Ordnance. This was the company that brought back all those rifles from Ethiopia, I guess the Ethiopian Cache earlier this year. And I just kind of want to go over what progress I've been making on this and kind of what I've assessed so far. So cosmetically, it looks decent. It doesn't look bad at all, but the bore is in like pretty rough shape. So I went ahead and broke it down, which most of the parts were covered in like gunked up cosmoline, which is to be expected. Had like tons of dirt inside pretty much all the stock parts, including like all the holes where like screws would go in. And then, even some dead bugs were like oddly like inside of the inside of the wood, but like there wasn't really any damage to the wood. Like the wood is nice and pristine on the outside and the inside. But anyway, like I scrubbed most of it down with like soap and water and like some lubricants just to kind of give the wood a little bit of a better shine. And then even after like a super thorough cleaning of the bore with like a half a dozen solvents, like brass brushes, like I went through like 6 or 7 brass brushes, patches, scrubbing. Man, I put like hundreds of patches down this thing. And then the bore didn't really seem to really do much better at all. And then, I took some bore foam to it, let that sit in there for like a night, multiple hops number 9 bottles, like maybe 1 or 2. And then, I scrubbed it even more. So like I did this for maybe like twice a day for a week, right? Hoping that would kind of clean that bore out a little bit more. But the top portion of the rifle, let me show you here, is like the crown is completely just smooth bore. It doesn't pass the bullet test by any imagination. So like it kind of pretty much eats the whole thing, like right up to the neck. And then, right there, it tells you that it's going to keyhole if I fire it. And then, after all of this, you can see a small, like, faint amount of rifling inside the barrel after I cleaned the crap out of it. And it was, like, the receiver's down here. And, like, I think there was barreling, like, or rifling, like, up to here. Maybe a little bit past here. And then you go past that, and it's just, like, non-existent. It's like smooth bore. So taking a look at this through a bore cam, you can compare the barrel on this 98, let's say, to like a standard Milsurp. Looks like a smooth bore. And compared it against a good condition Turkish Mauser on the left side, and then the Gewehr 98 on the right side. The difference is pretty apparent in the condition of the barrel. Now, one thing I did notice was that this is definitely a Frankenstein gun, or it was refurbished at one point, and none of the parts match at all. The receiver, barrel, bolt, they all have different serial numbers. I did notice that the receiver is a Danzig Arsenal Car 98K. It's Danzig 1911 instead of a Gewehr 98 receiver, which is like another indication that it's just kind of this Frankenstein gun. And then this was a World War I carbine version of the Gewehr 98 chambered in the same round, which is interesting. So it eventually evolved into the Car 98K that the Germans used in World War II. So it seems like the receivers were interchangeable, and at some point they were switched out entirely. And then, doing some surface level research on this, a lot of the guns were sent to Belgium after World War I as reparations, since the Germans didn't really have money. So physical armaments were the next best thing. They were then reassembled with various Mauser parts, which would explain why this has no matching number, no matching numbers at all, and the Car 98 AZ receiver mixed up with the Gewehr 98 barrel. I guess that works. And then if you have a box of loose parts, it doesn't really matter if you have like matching serial numbers. If they can be refurbished and works as an operable rifle, then it's pretty much good to go for any army. Also, the trigger guard here, this is something else I noticed. On the AZ, there's no loop here or no hole for the sling, Whereas in the Gewehr 98s, there was a hole right here. So again, receiver's a Car 98 AZ and not a true Gewehr 98 receiver. And I guess this doesn't really affect the function of it. It just means it doesn't really have any collector's value. Also, I couldn't find any Belgian markings on it, right? So if these really went through like a refurbishing house or a refurbishment house in Belgium, there are no markings anyway. I mean, I stripped the whole thing down. There's no markings for any like Liège proof house or some stuff I read online. I just don't have enough sources on this. And also doesn't have any of like the Lion of Judah, which, you know, was on some of the Royal Tiger import Ethiopian Cache weapons. So again, that doesn't really help with recuperating some of that collector's value. And it's whatever. You know, I don't think it is what it is at this point. Now, I called Royal Tiger Imports about this gun, and they wouldn't let me return the rifle because they don't warranty for bore conditions or cosmetics or functionality, only functionality. So, I think like what they said on the website, as long as like they test for like firing, make sure it like actually functions, and that's about it. All they would do is swap it out for like another rifle of the same kind. So if I want like another Gewehr 98, they would do that. And, you know, on the website it said they had like 3 in stock. And the cost of shipping both ways, plus like the FFL cost, I didn't think I would really fare much better. So now I don't even think they have any left in the inventory whatsoever. So anyway, basically what I'm going to do is I plan on just kind of sitting on this for a while. I haven't had it inspected by a gunsmith at all, so I don't know if it's safe to shoot. Again, there's like a faint amount of rifling in there, but I'm guessing it's going to keyhole, so I'm really not going to take the risk and destroy actually what is decent furniture on it. So I'm going to wait for a good barrel to come along at a gun show or online, swap it out with this one. And again, this doesn't really have any collector's value as is, so swapping out a trash barrel for a good one is going to make this into a good historical shooter anyway. So I will keep you guys updated as I kind of progress with the project, but this is where I'm sitting with the Royal Tiger Import Gewehr 98.